Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the first ever Franklin Public Schools Pathways to Your Future night. My name is Catherine Reed. I'm the District K-12 School Counseling System Specialist. On behalf of the entire student services and administrative teams in the district, we want to extend our warmest welcome to each of you as you listen, learn, and explore the many opportunities and unique pathways to every student's success and the individual goals both in high school and beyond. I'd like to extend a special thank you and welcome to all of our guest speakers, presenters, panelists, and resource fair participants. Many district stakeholders and presenters worked hard to make this event possible. From teachers and maintenance staff to community members, student volunteers, board members, and administrators. We are very thankful that we have such an involved and invested community to support our students. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening, Mr. Nicholas Cohn. Mr. Cohn is one of Franklin Public Schools' 2 directors of teaching and learning, a position he has held for the past 3 years. Prior to his current role, he was an associate principal at Franklin High School for 4 years and at Brilliant High School near Appleton prior to that, where he served as a high school at-risk and advanced placement teacher for 7 years. Mr. Cohn is more than a Franklin staff member. He's an active district resident and involved parent of 3 children, 2 of whom attend Robinwood Elementary. As he moves through the 14th year of his own career pathway, we are excited for him to share his focus on the diverse and sometimes unexpected experiences that help shape students into productive adults. I ask that you please join me in welcoming Mr. Nick Cohn.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Good evening. It's an exciting evening to be here, kind of the inaugural kickoff of this important event, Pathways to Your Future Night. And over the last several years, I think we've identified a number of different ways to deliver information and engage families in the important process of planning high school and beyond. But this venue is, I think, a unique experience, and I hope that as you go through this evening, you find it to be different than some of those opportunities we've had in the past. Author Malcolm Gladwell, in several of his books, from Outliers to Tipping Point to Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking, often talks about the power of learning through experience. The idea that it's not simply enough to sit and absorb as a passive bystander, but to engage deeply in a learning experience to help solidify your understanding. It's that notion of experience that I want to spend a little time talking to you about tonight. I've spent a lot of time the last couple of weeks thinking through the types of questions we typically ask students on nights like tonight. And one of the questions that comes to mind most frequently is this one. What do you want to do after high school? To me, that was always a fairly daunting question, right? Do I have to decide right now? Am I locked into that decision? What if I change my mind? But more importantly, that question leads to what is, in my mind, an even more dangerous question. And that is, what courses or paths should you take in high school to get there? This question implies that there's one right pathway. The idea that if I set a career goal, I have to take a certain number of classes in high school to achieve it, to get there, to have the best experience possible. And if I change my mind, I've somehow missed out on an experience that would make that possible for me. These 2 questions, when taken together, are even more dangerous in the sense that they assume that the student or the person who's responding has had enough experiences in their school career to be able to answer this question well. Because at the end of the day, we're all a product of our experience. And the way that we answer the question is based on our perspective and those experiences that we've had throughout our lives. Let me share with you a personal example to underscore that point. Though born in Wauwatosa in 1979, I spent the majority of my childhood in the village of Crivets. It's a little bit north of Green Bay. As I've spent an increasing amount of time in the Milwaukee area, I've learned that Green Bay, or Crivets, is one of those small towns that seems to extend beyond the boundaries of its 996 people that live in the village on the welcome sign when you come into town. In fact, through the conversations I've had over the years, I've learned that really anything north of Green Bay can be considered Crivets. That is particularly true this coming week when deer hunting sets off on Saturday. This is my dad. My dad worked in tool and die for over 35 years. He retired this past January. He worked first in the Milwaukee area and then later in life in the Green Bay area. And growing up as an elementary student, we often talked around the dinner table about the value of the trades and how a stable job in the trades like tool and die can lead to a really productive and fulfilling career. As a child growing up in that environment, I was convinced at a young age that I was going to go into the trades as well. I had set my career pathway ahead of me. I was going to go into manufacturing or tool and die. It was something that I aspired to and looked up to. But by middle school, that pathway started to change. I spent more time outdoors, hunting, fishing, and started to connect with the idea of environmental science. I had decided at a young age in middle school, that I was going to join the DNR when I got older. And as much as I'd like to continue to show you embarrassing pictures of myself from my childhood, this, unfortunately, is the only image I can show you from high school. And the reason for that is no images from my high school career exist. Going into my 9th grade year, some things started to change for me and my family. Alcoholism had gripped my father from a young age, and as I grew up, it got considerably worse over time. Going into my freshman year of high school, my whole perspective on what was important started to change. And I was no longer thinking in terms of career pathways. Instead, I was thinking in terms of, am I going to complete high school? Why is this important to me? By my junior year, my focus had shifted completely. My attendance, poor. My grades started to suffer as a result. And by age 17, I had moved out and started living with a number of families whose friends I had built relationships with over time. And then my junior year, I had an experience that was unlike any I had had to that point. For the first time in 5 years, I had been contacted by my school counselor, who asked me to come down and meet with him. It was about time to register for the ACT, and this was prior to the ACT being administered at the high school level, so there was a registration process, and it was a little more onus on the student to kind of engage in that than to just have it kind of presented to you. So as I went in to sit down with him, I was convinced he was going to talk to me about signing up for the ACT and encourage me to do so. And so I went into that meeting with my mind made up that I was going to push back and list all the reasons why I shouldn't be taking the ACT. And I sat down, and to my surprise, the school counselor said, "You know what? I don't think the ACT is for you. Your attendance is in bad shape, your grades aren't good, you're in danger of not graduating. Why would you waste your time with the ACT?" And started to talk me out of the notion of applying and taking that test. Well, I was just stubborn enough as a child that I took that feedback to heart and decided no one's going to tell me what I can and can't do. And so, going into that meeting with every intention of arguing about why I shouldn't take the ACT, I decided I was going to. If for no other reason than to prove him wrong. And so I took the ACT, I started to recommit to school, I took 2 AP classes as a senior and graduated on time. And by college, my career pathway was much clearer. I decided I was going to go into education. I was going to impact the lives of students who had a similar experience to mine in high school. And so through that pathway, I became an at-risk and advanced placement teacher at the high school level for 7 years. And I used my advanced placement program, AP Psychology, as a pipeline for my at-risk students to show them that they can have success in high school and that they can confound expectations. These questions, if asked to me at varying points in my life, would have caused me to give different answers. As an elementary student, I would have told you I was destined for the trades. I was going to go into manufacturing and tool and die. As a middle school student, I was going to work for the DNR. And as a high school student, I wasn't even sure I was going to graduate. By college, things had changed. My responses to these questions were a direct result of my personal experience. And frankly, asking these questions in education for the last number of years hasn't proven nationally to deliver the kinds of results we expect. Each year, the National Clearinghouse surveys students, and they look at 6-year cohorts. They take a number of students who enter a class at a 4-year university across the country, and then measure what percentage of them graduate with a degree within 6 years of starting that institution. These numbers are from 2010. So the students that you see here nationally entered a 4-year college in the year 2010, and they measured by 2016 what percentage of them had graduated from an institution. They broke it down by gender. And so you'll see in the top 2 boxes, the purple and the green, that 49% of men and 42% of women who started a 4-year college in 2010 did not graduate from any institution by 2016. Additionally, each year Gallup provides the opportunity for local districts and national districts to survey their students in grades 5 through 12 around their level of engagement in school. Nationally, the 2016 survey indicated that only 49% of U.S. public school students surveyed reported that they were engaged. If you break that down by grade level, the numbers get even more alarming. 5th grade in 2016, 75% of students, and though that number is certainly higher than 49%, that means by 5th grade, 1/4 of our students are no longer engaged in school. If you take that up to 12th grade, that number drops to 34%. We also know that there are a number of local jobs and national jobs whose career areas are booming, and they simply do not have enough employees to fill them. Jobs in education, healthcare, manufacturing continue to have more available jobs than workers entering the workforce. The Department of Public Instruction has also identified this as a priority. They've defined the college and career-ready graduate not only as one that has the knowledge they need to be successful, but also the skills and habits to be successful in skills or in jobs and careers beyond high school. I'm going to pose to you tonight that we ask some different questions instead. Questions more like these. That instead of focusing on the thing I want to do after high school and the one pathway to get there, that I instead focus on the skills and habits that I need to be successful in any career, so that as my experiences change, I'm still developing myself as a future employee. Additionally, we should be looking for previously unexplored experiences that we can use to grow these skills and habits. Too often we get pigeonholed into one career path, identify those courses that are going to get me there, and in doing so, have not been able to engage in the rich experiences that we can engage with to develop those skills that we need most. Frankly, we're lucky to have a high school that offers a variety of different career pathways for students. And within that, we offer a variety of different experiences. Everything from community and teacher mentors, to project-based elective courses, to internships, to youth apprenticeships, to over 30 dual credit courses, to service learning, to online, to AP. And so within the diverse offerings that we have here, students should be able to have a multitude of experiences by the time they graduate. So tonight, as you depart this auditorium and move into some of these sessions, I would encourage you to engage deeply with both the panelists and those professionals in the building to talk about what those experiences are and how you might participate. And before I set you forth to do that, I want to leave you with 4 quick pieces of advice. The first, I would encourage you every year to take at least one unexpected class. We have the opportunity at the high school level to earn 32 credits or take 8 courses a year over 4 years that are year-long, and a numerous semester-long electives. So within that, each year, you may have a path, you may have a goal. Pick one course that you didn't consider taking previously. Some you'll like, some you won't, but I promise you, you'll learn from all of them. Second, be open to changing your mind. Right? We're all a product of our experience. And at a given point in time, we think we have things figured out. We think we have the answers. So be open to engaging in an experience that makes you think differently, not only about a career pathway, but also your own personal experience and what you enjoy and what you're connected to. Third, seek out as many community-based experiences as possible. Again, we offer everything from internships to shadow experiences to youth apprenticeships. Some of those experiences are even paid while in high school, and you're earning credit alongside that. Seek those out. What are they? What are those opportunities for me to engage with the community? And lastly, I would encourage you to ask different questions. Don't ask, what do I want to do after high school? Don't ask, what is the pathway through high school I need to take to get there? But instead, ask everyone who will listen, what types of experiences will I get that will help me develop the skills and habits I need to be successful beyond high school? So as you go forth tonight, you had to make choices about the types of sessions you wanted to participate in, connect with. Right? That means you didn't get a chance to participate in others. You're not missing an opportunity. Okay? Make good decisions about the kinds of things you want to engage with and learn more about. And again, ask as many questions as you can. So with that, thank you all for being here this evening. Have a wonderful night of learning, and good luck to all of you.